Welcome everybody to the Rally Cry podcast. My name is Angel.
And my name is Tyler, guys.
And you guys are here because you want to learn, you want to grow, and you want to move away from the past, and you want to live in the moment. And today is a very important episode because we say it all the time, new year, new me. Now we're getting into the new year. But before we talk about these habits that we want to talk about, I just want to give you guys a kind of a news, right? So we got our new mugs. I got it right here. If you're watching us, yep. So if you guys are watching us on YouTube, you can see it right here. I got, if I'm a righty, it says breathe, relax, allow. And then if I'm a lefty, you can see it right here as focus, imagine, and create. So if you guys wanted to get your own mug, it's only $15. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. We got a couple other things.
Did you just say $15? That's not bad.
Right? $15. It's not really that bad. Usually you'd be seeing mugs for like $20 or more. And not only this is 11 ounces. And yeah, I actually used it the other day at a cafe. I was at Social Light Cafe. So shout outs to Social Light Cafe for putting their delicious coffee on our mug. But yeah, it's definitely to support us. And we got a couple things that we're going to give out to you guys. Also, if you guys haven't already, follow us on Instagram at therallycry.podcast so that anytime when we post an episode, well, not more so a clip, and you guys will be updated on that. And when we post, we'll be giving a couple things on there. I also want to say real quick, I know I got a couple news, but I want to give a shout out to, the supporters that are out there locally. I was at Walmart yesterday and I was just looking for a last minute Christmas shopping. You already know how that goes. And a guy and a girl came up to me and just supported me saying that, oh, I watch your podcast. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And I just want to encourage everyone that, if you do see me or Tyler in public, like definitely say hi. You know what I mean? It feels so nice to know that there's people that are supporting what we're doing. And, talking about mental health is so important so that we can grow and be more of our ideal self, right? Sometimes it's hard to work on ourselves, but if we could do it together, it makes it a lot more easier, right?
A lot more easier because who doesn't like team projects? We could do it ourselves, and that's just the glory aspect. Like, oh yeah, I did it by myself. I'm the warrior. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't feel just as good when you have other people that have the same goal as you, want to do things exactly like what's going to be done in order to achieve this.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, let's do it together, guys. And so let's get into the 5 life-changing habits that you can do for the new year. Because I think when we go into new year, we try to do all the things that's possible that we can sustain certain habits, certain behaviors, and just whatever promise that we give to ourselves, we want to be able to hold that promise. So number 1, you got to first stop what isn't serving you. A lot of times when we try to change into habits, we think about stop doing what we're doing and then, find the good thing that's healthy for us. And of course, you want to be able to stop it and then be able to move on to what is good. But it's the matter of if you're not aware of what it is, then you're just going to be replacing something that you're not aware of. It's almost like putting a bandage on a cut that you didn't even clean. How's that sound?
And I like how you bring that up because it makes me think of how, for example, with my music, right? You got artists that have made the game different. You got Drake, you got Brent Fayez, you got The Weeknd. And speaking of The Weeknd, such a familiar sound that when you hear other artists do it, it's like, oh wait, I've heard this before. So it's kind of like you can't really, if you're not going to make the effort to like look for something different and genuinely try to find something that's new or refreshing, then you're just going to find another copy of that over and over again because the values are still the same. And when those values don't change, it's almost like, okay, I've been here before. Do I want to do this again? Like at a certain point, it has to get boring because you're just doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and a good example too would be where a lot of people drink and smoke. That's not serving you in any way. It's actually just killing you, and it might just keep you stagnant. Like it keep you in place because a lot of times when you do these things, you become lazy. So what are some things you can do? You can teach yourself how to cook, learn how to dance, learn a martial art. There's so many things that you can do to build your character that will actually make you more happier because you're learning something.
Mm,
We as people always want to learn something. Our brain, all it does is wants to learn. But if you always feel as if you're always doing the same thing every day, you're gonna be like, well, I feel like I deserve more than what I'm getting right now because we live in a world that forever expands. And forever expanding, that means we need to expand with it, aka
hmm.
grow. So let's do that.
And with growing, it's discipline. Like it sounds like such an easy response, which it is, but a lot of times nobody wants to believe that because a lot of times, when the new year comes, we make these New Year's resolutions, and when we make these New Year resolutions, we have an idea of what we're gonna be in the future. Like we want this, so we have to do this. So the point has been made clear, but then we lie to ourselves when we don't continue it after the second week. So it's like 1 week in the gym and then you don't go back. So what's the point of even doing that if you're not going to commit to like, hey, I want to get this body, or I want to learn how to fight, or hey guys, I'm gonna say this, I'm also left-handed. I got a left-handed notebook. Angel, did you know they have left-handed notebooks?
Yeah. My
Okay,
mom is
cool.
left-handed.
Hey, I
Yeah.
forgot. But yeah. So overall, like I want to reteach myself how to write with my left hand because I've just gotten so used to it with my right. So now that I got the notebook, I'm taking the time, do the alphabet over and over again, then write simple sentences, and pretty soon I could get back to
I love that. Yeah, that's always a good thing. You don't see a lot of left-hand writers, so you're definitely gonna be like the 1%.
it. Or
For real,
I think it's 2% of the world is left-handers, but that's also
bro. I
false
was
in a
trying to
way.
see 1%, so you're more valuable. Come on.
Bro, stop! Not here, not here.
Yo, that's so funny. But yeah, no, for sure. That's number one. And number two is imagining. Yeah, I said it.
Mm,
Imagine your ideal self. That's so
mm.
important because when we're trying to change habits, we gotta put the manifestation on mode, turn it on. Because when you're trying to change your habits, you're doing it for the purpose of wanting to be this kind of person, right? You want to be someone that's disciplined, or you want to be a person that is able to do X, Y, and Z, right? So if you're gonna do these habits, you're gonna want to imagine, okay, after I do these habits, and these are the things that I'm trying to, get into. What is this gonna do and change me as a person? Do I want to do it because it makes me look cool to other people, or do I want to do it because I know what it takes for me to get there and how it's gonna change me as a person? When I understand it's gonna change me as a person, now I'm doing things with intention. I'm
Mm.
not doing it without intention. Everything you do has to be with that. So therefore, when if I want to be a good cook, right? That's a good example because me personally, I'm trying to get better at cooking, right? Not to say that I don't know how to cook like, rice and stuff, but I'm trying to do a little bit something more extravagant, something that is like, oh, this looks nice. I'm definitely trying to eat this. So if it's making desserts, if it's making, dinners, if it's lunch, breakfast, I just try to be a little bit more creative, right? That's what makes us get better at certain things when we try to be creative for the things that we do. If it's learning a martial art or all those things, you always try to be creative. But I had to imagine, what do I need or what do I have to do in order to get to that person that I would like to be? I desire myself to be this person.
I love that Angel says that because I think we get so caught up in the dream that we don't realize how fast the dream goes by, especially when we're sleeping. And because the end goal is so good and bright, we don't prepare ourselves enough on how we should reframe the losses that we're going to take in the process of that. And I can say myself, like even learning the new job that I'm at now, it's frustrating because I don't know everything off the top of my head, but it's also admiring that I could experience this type of anxiousness and also still be curious about what more I can do and learn from this, and then also how I can connect everything. At the end of the day, we always say this, and we've been saying it since day one, and I assume that you guys can agree. It's the fact that everything in life, in nature, in our mannerisms and our responsibilities, they all connect in somehow, some way. And that's why when we keep working on ourselves, we keep getting better. And just like in video games, things almost seem easy when you got all the skill points, all the accolades, and everything like that, right? So why not do that for yourself? And it's hard, but it's also taking that first step and keep trying every day.
Yes, sir. I love that you say that because you basically went back to the first point that we made when is spotting the things that don't serve you. The only
Mm-hmm.
way that you're going to get better as a person is when you are doing these things, right? You're imagining yourself. And then after you have this ideal self, now you can have this awareness that, okay, if I'm imagining myself to be this person, well, these are things that I'm doing that is not really doing me any good. The way I handle situations, or the way that I'm, you know, trying to execute something, and I'm being frustrated or anything like that. So knowing that for yourself for this new job, okay, I know I'm being frustrated. All right, let me not let it overpower me. So now
Mm-hmm.
that I have control, because our emotions could take control of us, or we could take control of our emotions. So yes, I love that. So that's 1 and 2. Now we're gonna get into number 3. Number 3, look, this works for everything. And all
Mm.
these habits that we're giving you guys, 5, they all work together. And there's so much more, but here's 5. Number 3 is work on your patience. Working on your patience is everything. We already know that. As we may have heard of a quote, it says, a person that has not mastered patience is a master of none. We heard that before, because patience is literally in everything that you do. If it's, you know, at work and you're waiting to get out at 5, that's patience right there. If you're cooking and you're hungry, you got to wait for patience right there. And the thing is that your patience really works out, or is working out when you are emotionally unstable in any form of way, just because you are hungry or you're trying to get out of work, right? Those are good examples. And you start getting so frustrated that you start doing things off impulse, right? So
Mm.
we could be patient in the beginning. It's easy, but patient really tests us when it's during, almost towards the end. And a lot of times we don't know if it's the end, but how long can your patience go? Is your patience like a couple hours, a couple days, weeks, months? Everybody has a certain meter, right? But the more
Mm-hmm.
patience that you have, the more master that you can wait. The more of a master you are at patience. And I'm not saying that for certain things you wait forever for it. Absolutely not. There's some things you gotta be quick with it, and you
Mm-hmm.
gotta execute. But when you are executing, you are also having to be patient.
And patience gives us the opportunity to be there in the moment. Because with patience, it's also the same thing with love. If you can't give yourself love, then you can't give love back to others. And it sounds like that's how it should be. And a lot of people have that mistaken, because they think that it's just easy. If I give this to this person, then that means like I'm giving them everything. But like, why aren't you giving that to yourself? At the end of the day, with patience, it also gives you the opportunity to love everything that's around you, good or bad. Who knows? Love the way Angel says that, by the way. Good or bad, who knows? Life has its routes, and also whatever you can be controlling, you want to remain controlling. Because why let your emotions get control of you? Why let a bad day control how your outlook is going to be for the rest of that week? Things shouldn't be like that. And with opportunities, always take it at first hand, because not every opportunity is going to come to you on a silver platter, or maybe a golden platter.
Yeah, it's so true. Definitely living in the moment. I was just gonna um say that, when you're patient, you are more reflective, because you're
Mm-hmm.
calm, you're at ease, you're going with the flow, and you're not going against it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree.
That's kind of
Um,
like when, as as my life, when I have short hair and I have waves. When you go to your barber, I'm sure my Hispanics, my black guys, like I'm sure you understand. If they go against the grain, that's going against your waves. That's gonna mess it up. And hey, you
mm,
can have good permanent waves, but it's still the idea of the fact that like, damn, I don't want
that's
him messing it up. Like
yup.
that's horrible,
Darn, that's the worst. I remember when I had a bad haircut, and when they do stuff like that, they libre, papi.
right?
All right. So
Ooh,
number 4 is, I like that sunlight on you.
ooh, right.
Number 4 is focus on what failures you did, not just the successes. And you might be like, shouldn't I worry about the successes and not the failures? Okay, yeah, you want to, be mindful of your successes. But the reason why I say you want to focus on the failures, because those things that you failed on are the things you need to focus on, so you could get better at those things. Now that I know I'm not really good at this, I could be like, okay, what can I do to get better at it? And no one wants to fail in everything, right? But that's okay. It's just part of the process. It's not to say that what you fail in is who you are, and you are a failure. A failure is when you fail at something, you just be like, all right, I give up. That's what makes you a failure. But you just took a temporary L, and now you just want to make sure that you switch it for what is it called? A delayed W. That's all you
Hey,
want.
you put it
Uh,
together. Hey,
yep. Hey,
yeah.
if anything, two L's do make a W, like you was just doing. So hey, look at that. So the more that you fail, the more that you're gonna learn. A lot of times, there was a quote I heard in the anime, and it is Konichi, right? Kenichi Mighty
Hey, okay,
Disciple.
yeah, yeah.
Love that show. I love it. And one thing, one of the sensei said was that sometimes when the loser walks away from the fight, the loser is the one that walks away with the most knowledge than the winner, because the winner's like, oh, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I'm gonna just keep doing that. But with a person that loses, they're more likely to walk away and be like, okay, what did I do wrong? So the whole
Mhm.
point of focusing on your failures is so that you can grow from them.
Yeah, and I could say it could become addicting when you're so used to winning, because if that's most of your experience, then you're going to look at every oh no, not every opportunity, but every experience that you have, like you're always going to get everything. You're going to feel spoiled, and you're going to feel like the chosen one. But that's not always the case. And as Angel said, the loser, I think it's not something that you always want to experience, but at a certain point, you want to be able to give yourself that that sense of like, damn, what do I need to work on? What wasn't I able to do? And and that's where comfortability comes in. You become comfortable, so used to winning, and you just want this life to stay the same, so you don't have to work on anything more after that. And I guess at a certain point, obviously, when we're older and incapable, maybe whatever that age may be, especially if you take care of yourself, I don't think it's something that you should let hinder what you could be. So right now, while you're young, whether in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, or maybe even in your 60s, there are still plenty of things that you can do to say, hey, I messed up. I can make up for this. Time isn't against me. Let me take advantage of my time that I have right now.
Yeah, and when you talk on time, I want to add on to that. I think when people want to try to change habits or anything like that, they might be like, "Oh, I'm too late," and it's just like you're not too late because you don't even know
Mm.
how long you're gonna live. You know what I mean? Regardless of your age, you can honestly die tomorrow, like God forbid, right? But it's just a matter of what makes you happy right now, and if it's you know you getting up and making your bed, and that's the first step. Okay, start there. You don't have to do anything extravagant to really change anything. It's just a small thing. Those small things add up to so that you can get closer to the big things. It just builds momentum. And once you do that momentum of doing the smaller things, that's when you are able to tackle the big things that you want to get to, and that builds confidence. But that's for another episode. Let's get into number 5, our last one. This one is called changing your environment. And what I mean by changing your environment is a lot of times when we're studying, right, we try to have a certain environment so that we're comfortable and we feel like we can focus. Sometimes people are at home and they for me, I turn on my diffuser, I light up a couple candles, I dim the lights a little bit because I could be a
Mm.
little bit more focused on what's in front of me. And sometimes I have my light right underneath me so that, let's say, if I'm reading a book, I can see what I'm reading, of course. Some people might like to go to Barnes and Noble or go to their local library and be there, because one thing I agree is that when you go into a library, the books talk. And when you're there, it might open some creativeness to the way you think, right? Because now you're in a different environment. Now you're around certain energy that is allowing you to, think more openly. That's just
Mm.
like essentially, right? So when you're setting up your environment, you could do it in so many ways. Even if it's like when you're going to the gym or you're cooking, it's about having the right stuff in order for you to do that. How many times you may probably even cook or you're going to the gym and you don't have the capable tools to get the job done. Then it gets frustrating. So it's just like,
Hmm.
oh, I don't even know what to do. Imagine try to study the same thing, same example, right? And I don't have a computer or I don't have a pencil. I gotta get up and go to Staples and get a pencil. You know how frustrating that is. So you always want to set your environment to success.
And as Angel was saying that, like speaking of cooking, it's like frustrating when you have to wash certain utensils and maybe even dishes while you're cooking because they
Mm.
weren't already prepared. And whether you live by yourself or you live with people, it's the idea, like, just prepare, because being prepared makes things so easier. You don't feel like you got to rush, and even something that also goes back to is discipline, because even think about back when we were in school, if you didn't study for the test, what were you doing? You were talking to everybody like, oh, did you study? Do you got notes? You got all these things that you're asking for, and you're scrambling all over the place. And how could you get anything done when you have to scramble all over the place? And like Angel said, when we make our bed, we know that when we come back, we got a nice bed that looks attractive. Like, yeah, that's a good looking bed.
I'm
You know what I mean? I'm
I'm
about to
trying
lay
to
up in it.
I'm trying to label with you later.
You know that pillow about to go crazy. But either way, it's more of the idea of like help yourself, and when you help yourself, you could love yourself. Like, you know what? I'm glad I did that because now I don't have to worry about that, and it's almost a reminder that we leave in our subconscious because throughout our day we do so many things, and we look back and we're like, you know what? If it wasn't for my schedule, if it wasn't for my routine, that wouldn't have been done because then I would have had to worry about that while I got this responsibility that's set at this time that needs to be done.
Absolutely. So yeah, guys, those are 5 life-changing habits that you can do for the new year. Stop what isn't serving you. Imagine your ideal self. Work on your patience. Focus on the failures so that you can get better, right? And then change your environment. All those 5 things are really important. Yes, there's so many other habits, and these are the top 5 I really encourage everyone to work on when you're going into the new year. Make sure you keep that promise because it sucks when you say I'm going to do something and then you don't do it. That's when you lose confidence because you're lying to yourself. So don't lie to yourself. We appreciate you guys. This has been 2 years now going into January where we have the podcast and us figuring things out, putting things together. There's still so much more that's going to come. I can't wait for next year. I hope that you guys have a very happy holiday. Merry Christmas is probably already passed by the time that this post is going to probably be after Christmas.
Yeah, the
But
day
happy
after.
Christmas. Yeah. But happy New Year to everyone, all your supporters. If
Woo.
you are new here, make sure you guys subscribe. If you guys liked this episode, please leave a like and let us know that we're doing something good. You can also leave us a review, and then we'll go from there. We really love you guys. Is there anything you
Yeah,
want to say, Tyler?
yeah, like Happy New Year's, guys. You know, when you see this, it's probably gonna be New Year's, or you're probably preparing for New Year's. Make sure you got your coquito. You can never
Mm,
go a party without that. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. It's been such a wonderful journey. Like now I'm in Texas, so like there's more changes to come. 2024 has so many more things to give us and go against us. So let us be grateful because we're alive. We get to breathe. We get to experience. We have food. We have shelter. There's nothing to be upset about. And at the end of the day, if you don't, then who will?
exactly.
Don't get to the point where you have to ask yourself that question because then you need to depend on somebody. So love
Hmm.
yourself, give back to yourself, and then give back to the community. Then it cycles back
Yes, sir. So yeah, guys, just make sure that you take one step.
at a time.
Yes, sir. We love you guys. Till next time. And well,
Hey,
next year. Peace.
ha, deuces.